Welcome to Shorts Beyond Measure, where fashion, interiors, and psychology get the stylish, savvy, and slightly therapeutic touch.
For Tara West, Caroline Baltz, and Allison Goldberg, a fashion stylist and 2 interior designers who are also trained as psychotherapists.
So let's get into what's trending, what's tired, and what's actually worth your time. Because good style and good decisions should never be short-lived.
Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
Morning.
We have a very special guest, my dear friend Rachel Wexler. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Tara. So fun to be here. And hi, Allison and Caroline.
Hi, thanks for being here.
So we usually start how we know you. Well, I have known Rachel so long. Our oldest kids who are in college, well, they were babies, right? I think we met
Babies.
they were in preschool.
Toddler room.
Toddler room. So how old are you in the toddler room? Not you.
2.
Your kid. I was really young then. But anyways, we hit
Teenagers.
we hit it off immediately. And it's really cool because we have watched not only our kids grow, but ourselves grow, wouldn't you say?
Understatement.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And we have gone through a lot. And Rachel is definitely one of the people that I call upon for so many things, personally, professionally. And I think back in the day when I was talking about starting a business, I was just talking about it, remember? I didn't even think that it was going to evolve into anything. And here we are.
Oh my God, that really brings it full circle.
I know. I
Mm.
know.
Did you ever address Rachel?
Yes.
Yes. Actually,
Yeah.
I remember.
You were her
Yeah,
first victim?
Well, and I still come back because I'll say, Tara, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Many times.
And then really, so all of those wonderful things about Rachel, you are very smart. My kids say, this is what my kids say, if there were to be a mayor of Brookline, it would be Rachel Wexler. My kids say that.
That's sweet.
I know.
That's a
So
nice
that just says a little bit. But anyways, you started a business recently. Well, how many? It's been what, 2?
2 years.
And for so long, Rachal has been saying to me, I want to do this. I want to do, and I was like, girl, freaking do it already.
You're like, I still gave up on me. You were like, you were never going to do it.
No, but because I've watched her percolate and contemplate and all these things. And here we are, and you have launched your business. And what I thought would be wonderful for you to be here today, not only that you're wonderful, but you're in a place where you're building this thing. And I want to know, how's it going? Like, I know we kind of talk about the struggles and the positive things about it, but a lot of people can take a lot from you right now in the space that you're in.
Wait, I don't know what you do.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's right.
It's magic.
Back up.
Yeah.
Back up.
So thank you, Tara. And it's amazing to be here. And it's really, I feel like after 2 years, do I know exactly what I do? No, not 100%. It is still
perfect.
absolutely evolving.
Do you have a title?
It changes daily. No. So I ran product and strategy teams for 20 years or so. And I would walk into a room and there are people who, look at a balance sheet or look at an income statement and they're like, oh, I know the company. And that's never been me. I can do those things, but I walk in a room and I look and I listen to everybody and I ask them a few questions and I figure out what's going on. And so when I made this switch to my own business, I said I was going into executive coaching. And really where the business has landed is more that I call myself a leadership development partner. So I work with leaders and I work with their teams on figuring out how can they use the talent best that is within the organization and what are those skills that they need to bring in. And so it takes a lot of forms. In some cases, it is coaching. In other cases, it's leading leadership programs and really cultivating some of the talent. It's also working with pairs or, small groups about how can they work together? How can teams really create trust-based environments where people can bring themselves to the table? Because when everybody is really there and they're authentic, then the real work can begin. Because let's face it, we live in a world where there are so many demands on every leader, every doesn't matter what sector you're in, what industry you play in, where in the organization you are, there's so many expectations. No one's going to be able to do everything. But if you know what you're really strong at and where you may need people to work around you, you have that self-awareness, you can really start to, to achieve these goals that in many cases are purposely set just outside of what is possible.
Did you start this business or this idea because of things you were seeing that were lacking? Or like what motivated you to go down this road?
Leading question, because Tara and I have talked about these things for years. I've been, and I think that's one of the things that makes me effective in what I do is not only do I have the training and the,
Experience.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I have been in the seats that my clients fill right now. And so I know what it's like when somebody is just not saying what they're really thinking, or somebody is talking too much and doesn't let everybody else speak. And so really, it's there's that adage that you can't change, if you can't measure it, you can't change it. If you can't name what's going on, and it doesn't matter where you are, teams are so afraid to name what is really going on. Easy to talk about the surface. It's a lot harder to get underneath.
So this is so fascinating to me. Like, I love this stuff.
I knew you were going to send it down. You guys are going to be like best friends by the end of it.
Okay, how long can you stay? All right. No, but I feel like I'm so intrigued with like, it sounds like you almost go into a room and then you're like the barometer and you're like what we do as psychotherapists, like you name the elephant in the room, right? But how do you get good at that? Like, how do you feel like what is the experience that you have when you go into this room and you're like, oh, something's off, or like what goes on for you in the micro of that?
It's such a good question because I think it's an art and a science, right?
Yeah.
It's a combination of asking really good questions. My family has always laughed at me because we will be somewhere and I'll like just say hi or how are you doing? And people tell me their stories. And it's not because I'm like looking for gossip to like seize on, but it's really like, I want to understand who you are. And so that's something I've always done. And now I'm in the spot where people actually ask me to do those things. So what do? In some cases, I will set up, sometimes I'll do a 360 on a leader. And so I will talk to the people their peers. I'll talk to the people who work for them. I'll talk to the C-level suite or the CEO. And, in some cases, if it's a CMO or something like that. And you really, sometimes I'll talk to the people in their private, personal lives. And not everybody, but you start to converge on a couple key themes. And so you start to put together the pieces. In the same vein, I can lead an offsite with a team, for example, and we start the day and we clearly create the space as different than the day-to-day. We're not going to a status update meeting. And we just start sharing. And it honestly,
can I ask you a question really fast?
Yeah.
Just can you paint a picture of what that? Are we in a group setting? Like, how is that taking place
in the offsite? Yeah. So let's say.
Can I pause for 1 second?
Absolutely.
I feel like you're not going to like your hair.
Oh,
sorry.
Thank you. I love that.
Did like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't even paying attention. I just messed it up.
I was trying to find a good.
Yeah.
place
No, I
to-
love that.
I know.
Now you're good. You're good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Got
that
it.
was
Got
fair.
it. Got it.
I was
Thank
trying
you.
to find a place to like.
That was
fix
nice.
your hair.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Wait. Where?
Oh, I was asking.
Yeah. How does
she
that?
entered-
Yeah, like just paint the picture a little bit of
In an
what.
office.
Yeah, like what does that look like?
So, I just did this like 2 weeks ago with a team that is largely there. I did this with a team that is, spread across the country, and they've been working together. Some people are new within the past few months. Some people have been working together for 10, 15 years. And they, and someone had once said to me, I'm just going to, as an aside, every time you bring somebody new onto a team, or if somebody leaves, you have a new community. And that new community needs to be nurtured and really firmly established. So these people work across the country. Actually, there's a couple of people internationally who are on Zoom. And they come together in person probably once or twice a year. And so we were there to do a little bit of some like strategic upskilling and things like that. But we also needed to like honor the space and let people just enjoy being together. And we started out, and I just asked everyone to go around the room, and I asked a question. I said, what is something that you have changed your mind about this year? And some people talked about work stuff. Some people talked about like an immigrant mindset and how they were able to figure out who they were in a workplace that was different than their parents who came here for a better life. Someone else sounds superficial, but it was such an insightful answer. She was from Nashville. She said, I used to hate bachelorette parties. And I used to get so annoyed every time I saw a group of girls walking down the street or like in a little party bus. And then she said, and then I had this moment where I said, those women are supporting the local environment or local businesses. They are having fun with each other, and they are just looking for a safe space, and they are celebrating someone they love. And she said, now I walked by them and I just left.
Yeah.
So when you have 15 people going around the table and sharing it doesn't matter how well you know somebody, you really learn something new about the people you are working with. And then all of a sudden, when you get into the heart of why we were there for that day, they just have a different headset. They're not worried about the next deadline. They're not worried about what did you say, or what didn't you do yesterday? It's more about like, how can we honor this time? And when we came together at the end, people said like, gosh, like we do good work, but there's nothing like being together.
Right. You humanized everyone for each other. So are you in the same room if they're across the country, or is it over Zoom?
So this time it was in person.
Okay.
Which is
I feel like
amazing.
that's
special.
so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that the key is that can't be the way it is like all the time. I have other clients where we meet on a monthly basis, but then we come together a couple times during the year, and that becomes the glue that holds everyone together. And you can tell when people are starting to get a little bit testy, it's time to bring everybody together.
That's awesome. What's your favorite part of what you do?
That is such a good question. I really love connecting in a way that I am helping somebody, or somebody is getting the space in order to help themselves. And probably more the latter. It's really a powerful feeling of knowing, particularly with women, right? That could be a whole other set of conversations.
Yeah.
But, helping people see their strength and their value is like beyond exciting.
Well, what you're doing too is you're, like Allison said, you're humanizing. And so the productivity of everybody must then excel, because these walls are kind of brought down, and that now there's a more human element to the workplace or to what they're doing, which I think is kind of more of a motivator.
Everyone wants to be seen and heard and valued, and they want to know that their contribution matters.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter whether it's, you're a member of a community or you are a key contributor on a team at work, or even in your family, right? How many moms just say, gosh, all I do is do for other people. And I just want everybody to recognize for once, like what I do for them. And so
We're all like,
Yeah. Mother's Day. Wait a minute. Hello, Mother's Day is Sunday. Let's get this card started.
cards, I want a gift. Just kidding.
Right?
exactly, we just want to know we matter.
Yeah.
And so I think there's power in that, and allowing people to see that.
That's amazing. Well, let's stop here, because when we come back next, we're going to actually talk about something specific to your business, correct?
Okay, let's do it.
And before we go, can you tell people how they can find you?
Sure. You can find me, it feels like everywhere. On LinkedIn, I'm Rachel Levy Wexler. I do a lot of posting and there's something good that's happening. So would love for you to follow there. If you're on Instagram, it's our Wexler Leadership. And my website is rachel-wexler.com.
All right. Thanks.
How do you
Thanks,
spell Wexler?
WEX as in X-ray, LER.
The normal way. Some people do it with an SCH or something.
Oh, no one does, Dave.
I can't take credit for it, but
He's lying. All right. Well, thanks,
Thank
Rachel.
you.
thanks so much for having
Okay.
me.
That's it for this week's Shortlist. Thanks for listening.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, share it, leave a review, or let us know what's on your short list.
Shorts beyond measure, because the most important things in life can't be quantified. Yo.